Hi, Peter. It's great to see that you've signed up for the 9 essay correction package. Let's get right into this, taking a look at your letter to the editor. Do me a favor, please, and include the task, include the question, so that I can refer to it, so I can tell you also how well you're doing on things like task achievement. So just make sure you include it when you write your answer. Dear Editor-in-Chief, I'm writing to you regarding a complaint that was published in your newspaper regarding the TV program Red Horses. Okay. It should have been capital H and then the period here and then the quotation. In my opinion, comma, the complaint was unjustified and poorly written. I feel obliged to share my point of view. I do not agree that the show is dull and pseudo-intellectual. Please allow me to explain what I appreciate about the show. The aesthetic, careful with your spelling here. This is not the English way we spell aesthetic. Is raw, which I find very compelling. It is suitable in the context of the plot, which is centered around young aspiring artists in London. The story proceeds in a rather slow tempo, at a rather slow tempo, which I find emphasizes the character's state of mind. Here you want an apostrophe after the S. I urge you to take action regarding this matter. I find it disappointing that a newspaper of your stature publishes this complaint. It is suitable that you, as editor, publish an apology, again spelled correctly with a Y. Faithfully, you want an H here. Okay, so like I said, it would have been really helpful if you had included the question with all the bullets, because it would help me a lot with this period, with this paragraph right here. I didn't love this word suitable because you're saying I urge you to take action. I find it disappointing, etc., etc. I would have used something else because I think you're supposed to make a suggestion about how the editor can rectify this. Maybe you should have said, I believe you should issue an apology, or I believe you should uh, publish an apology. So something like that would have been better. I didn't like this. It is suitable. Okay. And then the rest of it was fine. Some little mistakes here and there. On the whole, good. Again, I needed you to include the task, as I do here as well. So please make sure you do that. Just copy and paste them. Okay. It is under current debate whether employees should remain in the same job for their entire career, or if it is important to change position at least once. I believe it is crucial for a majority to switch jobs, and I will present an argument supporting my point of view. Okay. In my opinion, a career change comes with many advantages. A person can never evolve as much. Can never evolve as much as being placed outside of their comfort zone, and a new job position will do precisely that. Okay. It's a little awkward. In a new workspace, you tend to see previous experiences through a different perspective, and you will have to reevaluate in what way you approach a task, no S, or an obstacle. I believe that is a powerful statement to employers that you are the kind of employee who will rise to a challenge. Good. Another aspect is that changing jobs can mean a substantial rise in salary. Okay, that's nice. Could you have maybe said another statement about that, another sentence like, why? Why does changing jobs equal a raise in salary? Okay, that would have been helpful. But you used some nice vocabulary here, and I like this on the whole. There are, of course, strong arguments for remaining in the same role and in the same company. It clearly states that you're a loyal person and gives you a lot of in-depth experience. All right. Now, this paragraph really has a ton of problems. Let's look at your conclusion and then we'll talk about it. To conclude, I believe there are more advantages if you decide to change jobs during your career. You will evolve and gain new experience, and this will likely reflect in your salary. However, staying in the same role, of course, means you will have great in-depth knowledge in your specific field. Okay, so now let's talk about this paragraph. You did say here it is crucial for a majority to change jobs, which leaves us this understanding that maybe for the minority, it makes sense to stay in the same position. So that was kind of the conclusion I drew. And so I was to a certain extent expecting you to talk about this minority. However, this is not the way I want you to do it. Let's talk about all the problems that this paragraph has. First of all, it shouldn't be here. It should be here. It should be right after your introduction, because this is called a concession paragraph. A concession paragraph is one where you look at the opposite side, the side that you don't really support, and you analyze it to show how open-minded you are and that you've looked at all sides of the issue. So it goes directly after your introduction. Okay, so that's the first problem. The second problem is the development of this paragraph. It is so tiny, it is even smaller than your conclusion, which shows us that you really have not developed it. It's almost like an afterthought. And so if you were going to write it like that, honestly, you shouldn't have written it at all. You maybe just should have included another reason why a career change is so advantageous. And there are plenty of reasons why. You could have said that it allows you to broaden your circle, your professional and maybe even your personal circle. Maybe you could have talked about why it means a rise in salary. So there was a lot more you could have said here. But as for this, like I said, I would have put it here. And it states you are loyal, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So what does that mean? You could have said that maybe that this is what's the word I want? Companies will compensate workers who are there for a long time with many fringe benefits, as kind of like loyalty rewards or things like that. So that's one thing you could have said. Another thing you could have said is that there are certain jobs where you really can't switch jobs. So, for example, a doctor, once you are a doctor, let's say you're an endocrinologist, for example, you can't all of a sudden suddenly become an ear, nose, throat doctor. Okay, like that's not possible. So there are certain careers where you absolutely must stay in the same field. Okay, yeah, great. Maybe you can change hospitals, maybe you can change offices, but that's pretty much it. Okay, and so there are certain jobs like this where you really can't change once you've begun. Or where it would just be such a huge change in career that it's like starting from scratch again. So that's some stuff you could have talked about. What else could you have talked about? You could have said that maybe it fits some people who really just thrive on stability. There are some people like that who really do well when they have a set pattern, they have a set program, they have a set routine, and this is how they do really, really well. Some people don't respond well to change and to new environments. So, that for me would have been how to develop this paragraph. But again, it should have gone up here. Paragraphs like this, you don't want. And in general, I want you to bear in mind that your body paragraphs definitely need to be considerably longer than either your introduction or your conclusion. So this should have been your first sign that, I did something wrong here. Okay, so a lot of nice things here, Peter. A lot of, good grammar, good vocabulary, and good ideas in general. But there are some things that I want you to work on. Okay, so this is one. And some of the stuff that I'm talking about here, like this paragraph here, this would have affected both your task achievement score because it was underdeveloped, but also your coherence and cohesion because the paragraphing, the progression of your ideas isn't entirely logical. Okay, so think about that. And I'm really excited to see your next set. So go ahead and get started on that, and we'll meet back here with that next set of essays. Good luck.